ticket not punched.
Hardy.
No, the ticket's not punched.
Fred.
You got a bunch of stuff wrong when you talk. So much for this country.
Dutcher and Hardy.
I guess this country's a bunch of buffoons that don't know the rules. You idiot.
The Sports Up.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. This, of course, is Ace Frehley. The Kiss decided to put out, when they had all four original members back in the 70s, they decided to put out 4 solo albums. And much to the consternation of Gene and Paul, Ace's album did the best, and by quite some bit. Now, I defy you to listen to Peter Criss's album because it's almost exclusively doo-wop. It's like...
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's all like 50s sounding. And Gene does a version of When You Wish, or not When You Wish Upon a Star. I think it might be When You Wish Upon a Star with Cher, but it's supposed to be ironic because he's evil. But Gene's album didn't do anything. Paul's album didn't do anything. But that song, Back in the New York Groove, cover song that Ace did, was the only even minor hit. In fact, I guess those Kiss solo albums shipped tons and then had to be returned to the record label because none of them, except for Ace's, sold anything. So a bit of a miscalculation as the band all released those at the same time. That's asking your fans a lot, especially when your fans are probably 12 and under. Asking them to, go out and buy 4 albums at the same time. That's a lot. But nonetheless, that's being played, I am sure, because the Knicks, of course, are NBA champions. And as we discussed earlier in the show, I watched the second half. I was out, but then I watched the second half of the game. And after watching, the whole series, I just was like, good, just San Antonio will lose already. Look, I have nothing against the Knicks as a franchise. I mean, James Dolan doesn't seem like the greatest guy in the world, but it's not his fault. The Knicks players are likable. A lot of them weren't supposed to be, most of them weren't supposed to be, in fact, 99% of them probably were not supposed to be stars. But here we are, especially Brunson was not supposed to be a star at all. And he's now one of the biggest stars in the league. He's, on the list of all-time great Knicks. So they got that going for him. And San Antonio just choked away everything so that it was just like, end it. They don't deserve this. Just let the Knicks win. And let them win on a Saturday. And Hardy had discussed it. You win on a Saturday, take some of the shine off on Monday, and then people of national news is focusing a lot on the World Cup. The Stanley Cup final, I guess has like a blip that people will consider talking about it. But what do you do when you're on the radio in New York City?
Yes,
and you cannot do play-by-play of the game. You're not carrying play-by-play of the Knicks game. Well, that was the situation at WFAN in New York, as they had guys live on the air doing a talk show as this was going on. You'll remember the famous Jim Murray, which might have gotten him a job back here at the station, when Jim Murray was doing Nights in Atlanta in 2011 during the Stanley Cup, during the Toronto. First series with comeback, right? The big comeback in Game 7 that the Bruins had against Toronto. You remember him? He was talking about it live on the air and very excited. Here is WFAN on Saturday night.
Anthony Gallo and Positive Tommy. These guys are overnight weekend hosts in WFAN.
All right. Here's how they handled it.
Knicks up 2, minute 50. This is life.
And now you get.
It is. It is life. And that's Positive Tony, I'm sure.
Tommy.
Yeah, Positive Tony. He's out there. He's like Tony Soprano, except super positive.
Knicks up 2, minute 50. This is life.
And now you get an open look for Hart. Let's bury this!
Oh, come on, Mitch.
That wasn't play-by-play, by the way.
That wasn't. Just cheering. I'm just cheering. Just 2 guys loving on their Knicks.
But I will tell you this.
Living on their what?
Living on their Knicks.
Loving on their Knicks.
It's opposed to me, who lives on his wits.
Yeah.
And good for them not doing play-by-play, because I'm sure that the show on Saturday night at 11 o'clock was really going to get the wrath. I mean, that's multi-million-dollar lawsuit.
I thought the Fan was the flagship for the Knicks. They're not.
No, they're the Nets.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yes, they have the Nets. If I'm not mistaken, yes, they do have the Nets.
All right.
Come on.
26 seconds away.
Man,
Okay.
Wemby, man. I hope you go home and cry over a baguette.
Because he's French.
This is life.
He's insulting the man. A, because he's French. And B, those sissy Frenchmen with their baguettes.
All right.
Come on.
26 seconds away.
It's angering me.
I see that happening.
All right, we won't do play-by-play here, but we're going to kind of give you a feel for... Mitch!
Not play-by-play, but offensive rebound.
They're going to win in 5.
It's unreal. OG,
5.
I love you. I love you. I love all of you. I love every single one of you on this team.
20 seconds.
This is incredible. I
we
can't
go.
believe this.
I feel like Tony Romo. Here we go, Jim! Here we go! Where else would you rather be, Gallo?
Nowhere.
No, listening to the game. Not listening to you two have to half-ass do play-by-play.
There is something to be said for doing a show and being this into it, and credit to them when you know, or should know, nobody's listening to you.
Yeah, like 0 people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too, about being concerned about doing play-by-play is that, again, you are broadcasting. I know you're in New York City, number one market, arguably in the world, but you are broadcasting to the ether. Like even if the Knicks radio call is probably got, as Knicks radio calls go, very, very few people listening. I mean, they're watching it on television.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday night. So let alone these guys. I mean, if I was them, I wouldn't feel any constraint at all. You could be swearing, doing whatever the hell you want.
We worked our
Absolutely
entire
nowhere.
lives for this moment.
No.
Oh, you've been waiting your entire lives for this moment. Well, that's sad.
WFAN! Here we go! Come on!
Get the call letters in.
Yeah, and let people know that this is WFAN because the station's gonna carry this over their heads.
What time did that game go final? Did they have to get the legal ID at the top of the hour?
Well, it was safe harbor technically because it was after 10 o'clock, so they could have been saying whatever they wanted at that point. I mean, they could have gotten real risky with religion and racial talk.
Can't do play-by-play!
20 seconds. Don't.
All right, we
dude.
get that. Yeah.
We get it. Maybe stop saying it.
Can't do play-by-play!
20 seconds. Don't play by play.
But we just got to react. That's
No,
all.
no
We're allowed to have
play-by-play.
guttural reactions. That's cool.
I knew it. He was going to not play.
Get out!
Oh,
Knicks up 2, 8.5 seconds to go. Gallo and I, obviously, diehard Knicks fans.
Yes.
We've been waiting our entire lives.
Entire lives.
They've only been alive, so they're in their 20s.
No.
Oh, no.
No, 73 was their last
Oh, that's
one.
right. I thought, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, so they have been waiting their entire life.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, okay. As would have I if I was a Knicks fan. I would have been waiting my entire life. My bad.
Deep breaths. Come on!
Hit it. Come on, baby.
Well, that was
Come
play-by-
on.
that was close to play-by-play.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
I can't pop the champagne in here.
Come on!
Let's go!
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Yes, please leave. Go. Never come back.
Waited their whole lives for this, Fred.
Yeah.
Championship.
And what a night to be on the radio. The night that the local team, the only basketball team that anyone in that town cares about, the night that they win the championship for the first time in a lot of our lifetimes. Not too many people. John, not your lifetime.
No, I was alive the last time.
You were very much alive.
Yes.
And John was.
He was there.
Well, no, he couldn't get in, but I mean, John, he was out. But that was back when Times Square was Times Square. That was back when John was at a peep show at the time.
Yeah.
He had to be told that they had won the championship.
Yeah, we went to the talkies first and then walked up the street.
Well, you listen. I don't know if they were talking in the pornography that you put a nickel into to watch, but nonetheless,
With a big crank.
no, that's a Nickelodeon. Again, you don't
sorry.
even know the pornography. you're
I'm
watching.
sorry, my fault.
Oh, where's the camera? Let's go! Let's go!
The Knicks are the 2026 NBA champions.
And you should see the difference between what the women look now in the pornography than what they were looking like when John was watching pornography during the first NBA championship. Much more natural.
Which informs, I think, a lot of his proclivities now. You know, it was imprinted on him at an early age. The ample rear ends.
I think it's a little different now.
Yeah, I think
it's a little different. I mean, women were bigger, but in a casual sense, not a like, all right, I'm going to focus on doing this sense.
Yeah, in terms of just ass. Like John would, I mean, it was real hard for him. He had to go peep show to peep show to peep show to just finally find someone fat enough for his taste. You know? It wasn't easy for him. And that's how he got his exercise back then. Is just going peep show. Is Sandy working? No. Ugh. And you have to walk to the next peep show.
Let's go, baby! Oh my God!
You know, John used to mop up the peep shows. Right before he got the EEI job, he had the mop up peep shows.
What age were you when you started thinking about the suffocation aspect of your fetish?
Oh, that came later.
What age?
Oh man, I was beyond college. It was
30s.
Yeah, late 20s, early 30s.
But it never.
Deep breaths?
Not anything.
It was good.
Not anything like even remotely like that. Like just like kind of another way.
No.
You didn't even like butts until your late 30s.
No, not really. And I can't explain where the transition happened there. I don't know why.
I think because when society changed, you just changed.
You think I just floated along with everybody else?
Yep.
Seems that way.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Let's go, baby! Let's go, baby!
Oh my God!
Let's go! Come on!
That's unreal!
Yes! Yes!
And then I wonder.
Sounds like Zolak and Bertrand picking up a couple of free agent tight ends.
Yeah.
That level of excitement.
I mean, everyone's certainly in Boston has rooted for a team that's won titles, and when it's been a long time since the team, or the first time ever that a team's won a title in like your lifetime, there is that great exhilaration, and then there's that moment about right now in their celebration where you realize, well, that's it.
Yeah, that's over now.
Yeah, like, well, that's it. Like, now I don't
That's
get
why
anything.
I was waiting my whole life for, and it was great for 11 seconds.
Yeah.
It was long. In 04, I can tell you, in 04, it was different. In 04, it was, I would say, a week, 2 weeks before we all here had that kind of, okay, what's next?
No, I'm not talking about being excited about it. I'm talking about that, like, elation. Because I remember when the Cardinals won in 06 when I was here. It was the first year I was here, I believe they won. They won in 06, I believe, the fall of 06. And I went out to Cask and Flagon and watched it with my wife at the time. And they won, and I was very, very excited because they hadn't won since 82, and I didn't remember them winning in 82. So they won, and I was like really excited. And then when we were walking home, I realized, oh, this doesn't affect me at all.
Well, you were also heavily sedated. On your cacophony of cuckoo pills.
I wasn't on nearly the amount of cuckoo pills as I am now.
Oh, all right.
But there is that feeling like where the process of it is so much more enjoyable than the outcome. I think other people can relate to this. Like the process of like wanting them to win and then watching the game and then like, you know, being on the edge of your seat. And then they win, and you go like, "Yes, yay! This is great." Like even 2011 Bruins, like I knew that team fairly well as teams go, like in terms of personally. And you know, there's that moment where they win, and you're very excited, and then you just kind of go like, "Well, that's it for me." Like the players are all celebrating and having fun, and you're like, "Well, I just got to go back to home."
I was listening to these guys, and I was trying to figure out like what my level would be if the Lions won the Super Bowl. And both Anthony and Positive Tommy are younger than me, I'm sure. But I think in the moment it would be fantastic. You know, greatest sporting moment ever. How long does it really last?
Well, it's the game is the reward, right? Like,
Yeah.
That game, like the Super Bowl for you would be the reward. And then there's that. If you're at the game, I think it lasts longer because you're amongst your people, you're amongst other fans, and there's all that excitement. And then as you walk down the street, everyone's chanting and stuff. But if you're watching it on TV, I can just tell you from experience, there is that. Okay, like a little bit of like, well, this doesn't really affect my life at all, right? Like I had all that entertainment.
How does your life change as a result of this?
Right. Unless you're like one of those guys that like feels that you can now go around and brag as if you've accomplished something, which is, John's whole MO.
Specifically, after the Patriots won that first Super Bowl over the Rams, it was, I think I understand now exactly what you're saying. It was like a day and a half. And then I was done because I was called in to host overnights on EEI. I did the overnight show after the first.
And so you celebrated.
So we celebrated. It was Greg Dickerson and I for 5 hours, 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. overnight.
And you're taking calls. It's very exciting. You're almost a part of it.
And then you go home and you pass out and you wake up at like 4 in the afternoon the next day and you're like, okay.
Yeah, you're like, well, I didn't get anything.
When's the parade? I'll go to that. But yeah.
It's like I didn't get anything out of this. And the parade it can be really fun, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, I understand.
It's like enjoy it. I'm just wondering at what point during this celebration are they putting on airs is kind of what I'm getting at.
Sure.
Like where they kind of are realizing like, well, that's that now.
Yes!
Right about there.
Yes! Yes!
I can't believe it. Oh, I'm such a mush.
Come on!
This is unreal.
I'll have what she's having, by the way.
Yeah, that's
that. There it is. That moment, Fonzie has jumped the shark. He's landed.
He was deliberately panting, and then he put it into the old
When Harry Met Sally.
When Harry Met Sally scene. That's when you know it's no longer organic.
Oh my God!
Let's go!
Oh my God!
New York City, the party starts.
Yeah, no one's listening to you, buddy. I get it. WFAN's a great station, but not during the Knicks finals when you don't have the game.
And it won't end! It won't end!
Oh, my God.
See, now he's realizing it's ended. And it won't end, it won't end. Oh, no, it's ended. And you're realizing it.
And it won't end! It won't end!
Oh, my God, I should have got a joint. I should have got one.
We got some booze here, though.
We do.
I think upper management should allow us to drink in studio tonight. Come on!
Are they
the Knicks have
sponsored?
won the championship!
Oh, my God, I can't.
We're boozing, baby!
Oh, my God, I can't believe it!
Now he's searching for booze to, try to, he realizes the emotions and the dopamine from the win have now started going away, and now he's looking for something else to it. But you can tell they're
Take
not.
its place.
You can tell they're not so well established with the constant fretting over play-by-play, and then management should let us drink in here. How about management's nowhere to be found?
How about you say whatever you want, you do whatever you want, and it'll be fine.
I'll bet you management's in San Antonio.
I don't think management's going to be like walking around peering in the windows to see if you're having a cocktail.
Bust open that bubble you got back there, though, handsome.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to do this?
Can I pop that and spray it all over the...
Do we have anything that we could put on the expensive equipment here?
Pop that and spray it all over the...
Well, the one guy calls him handsome, and then he goes, can I pop that and spray it all over you? How about you pop it? How about you make it pop and then make it spray all over me? All right. Sean McAdams is going to join us. He has an article out about the Craig Breslow's future that doesn't look so bright, and we get to talk to him in just a moment.
My buddy.
With friends like these,
Climb up a tree.
you know.
We're the best friends you can be, my buddy and me.
Now, more of your best morning buddies, Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
I would be surprised if he went into the offseason as the chief baseball officer of this team. It's just hard to think that they would go into the offseason with the fan base in such an uproar with the same guy making the calls, given how this season seems headed.
That is Sean McAdams. We are Toucher and Hardy. Sean McAdams, I hear, on Mad Dog. He's the go-to guy Mad Dog goes to when a older rock star passes away. Sean is an expert.
Sean's seen a lot of concerts.
And beyond that, like, it's not even that Sean comes on the show. It's that immediately Mad Dog starts referencing Sean McAdams and to get him on the phone.
Oh.
Like when Robbie Robertson died, like he was like, get Sean on the phone. Get him on the phone. Hey, come on.
Sounds like
Give me my guy, Sean.
I want to talk to him.
I'm going to talk to him. Sean, that is the case, Sean McAdams. You're writing for Masslive. That is that is what goes on, is it not? Your phone rings.
It is, Fred. I have become the dead rock star chronicler on with Chris on Sirius XM. That's my lot in life.
Well, listen, he loves you, and it's it's a great show, and he loves you. And I'll tell you this. I listened to the Graham Nash book, so now I feel like you and I have some common ground. Are you
all right?
Are you a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young guy or no?
I'm more of a Young guy, but I like some of the CSNY stuff. I'm a huge Neil Young fan.
See, I like Neil Young way better than I don't like Crosby, Stills and Nash. I do like Neil Young, but I'll tell you, those guys a lot more effed up than you would think they would be with the folk music. Lot more in their personal lives that went wrong.
Yeah, a lot of soap opera.
Yes, absolutely. And not afraid to say it, which I enjoyed. Well, Sean, listen, great job on this Craig Breslow situation, and you make a lot of interesting points beyond the fact that you obviously don't believe that he's going to be in this position next year. But let's talk a little bit about the thing I thought was the most interesting is, you would think that Craig Breslow, if they're going to get rid of him, they would want to do it before the deadline, but that doesn't necessarily need to happen. And can you kind of explain the machinations of that?
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox MO here, if you will, over the last 10 years is when they move on from a lead baseball executive. They often do it in mid-September. That happened with Dave Dombrowski in 2019, and it happened with Chaim Bloom in 2023. So both those guys ran the show at the draft and at the trade deadline and were out the door about 6 weeks later or less than 2 months later. So for people saying, well, why would you keep the guy that you're probably going to move on from and allow him to navigate the deadline? My answer is good question, but they've done it twice before since 2019. So there is some precedent for it. I also think there's a limit to what you're going to affect in terms of change if you fire the general manager or, in this case, the chief baseball officer in the middle of the season. The product doesn't change, right? You change managers as they did at the end of April, getting rid of Alex Cora and 6 coaches. Well, now you have a new voice in the dugout. You have somebody new making out the lineup card. You have somebody making in-game decisions. There's more of an impact that a manager is going to have day to day. Right now, the roster is the roster, as Alex Cora was known to say on occasion, and the players are who they are. If Craig Breslow is replaced tomorrow, next week, next month, it's not like there's going to be some wholesale changes in the roster right away. And in all likelihood, because of the timing, you're going to have somebody interim and promote somebody from within to do that job. So for people screaming that it doesn't make sense, we can argue that all day. But the fact is that there's recent precedent to do it that way.
Okay, so there'll be guardrails on him in theory. There could be guardrails on him in that these are the guys you can trade. We want prospects, or we want... You made a really good point that a few years ago there was an edict at the trade deadline, or there could be an edict that you can only trade our guys for major leaguers. And you give it like Alan Craig and I think Cespedes.
Right. Well, think of the big house cleaning they had, the year where they sold off Gonzalez and Beckett and Crawford to the Dodgers to dump all that salary, or when you think about the trades they made in say 14, where they're trading Lester and Lackey, but they're getting back Joe Kelly, Alan Craig, guys like that. They weren't looking for prospects, and I wonder if they might do the same thing here. I think that would be disastrous. I think you should absolutely get good young prospects and start the business of overhauling the roster and climbing back into contention. But again, to read kind of the past as prologue here, I think ownership has always had this fear that if you're getting prospects in return, that sends the message that you're in for a long rebuild. And I don't think they want to do that. I think that affects ticket sales, obviously, for next year. It affects NESN ratings. So I wonder what sort of, as you mentioned, guardrails are going to be in place for Breslow come August 3rd.
Sean, in a larger sense, Craig Breslow is a problem, but I don't think he's the problem. I mean, if you fire him, who are you going to get to replace him with? It just seems like there aren't people knocking doors down to work for this ownership these days.
Well, there certainly wasn't, John, a few years ago when they ended up hiring Breslow. At Masslive, we reported that they approached and reached out to anywhere from 6 to 8 to 9 candidates, all of whom said, no, thanks, we're good.
Yeah.
They weren't interested in even interviewing. A couple of other people pulled out of the process once they had agreed to interview. Look, people can see the history here. They can see that you get 3.5, a maximum of 4 years to turn things around, and if that doesn't happen, you're out the door. And increasingly, you're looking at a younger demographic of lead baseball executives, guys in their 30s, 40s. A lot of these guys have young families with kids. They don't want to uproot their wives and kids halfway across the country and know that as soon as they sit down at the desk, that the clock is ticking on them and they're only going to get 3.5 or 4 years. So people can see how often there's been a revolving door on that GM office in Boston. And I think they're going to have a difficult time attracting top tier candidates as happened last time. Breslow was a highly regarded sort of pitching guru in the Cubs organization, but he was no one's idea of it's only a matter of time before this guy's a president of baseball operations somewhere. A lot of those more high profile people told the Red Sox they weren't interested in talking to them.
In terms of the safeguards that would, be in place, that's not going to be any further hindrance for them looking for their next GM, though, Sean, because I feel like that would be something that any ball club would do. They're not going to look at the way they treat Breslow for the rest of this season and say, wow, you wouldn't let him do anything. If he's on his way out, that just seems to be pretty standard protocol, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything about what's happened or what's about to happen over the next couple of months. It's more the turnover.
Yeah.
And the feeling that, you have to get this done and get it done quickly, and they're impatient. And if you don't show progress right away, you're gone. Nobody likes to come into a new job and know that, you're expected to put a championship contender on the field in the first year or so, or else the clock is ticking for you.
Okay, one of the things that I find so interesting about this season is that, it's almost this organizational arrogance about the way that they do things being the correct way, that it's they at least when they talk, it's infallible. We have the data. This is not human. This is not the place for human error. We have a system in place that can calculate things to the letter, and we have this all lined up, and it doesn't work. I mean, it just hasn't worked. You have to win baseball games. You have to produce offensively, and these things aren't happening. Do you think that ownership is invested in that way of doing business and will not move off of it? Or do you think a new GM could come in and change the way they kind of operate, in theory, how they operate?
Well, look, analytics are here to stay.
Right.
I hear people call up and say they got to get rid of the nerds and the laptops and the pocket protectors and all that. Guess what? Every single one of 30 major league teams is hip deep in analytics because that's the way the industry is going. And you can talk about the Dodgers or you can talk about the Rays at opposite ends of the payroll spectrum. Everyone is using analytics and data, and that isn't going to change anytime soon. But the best organizations synthesize that data with some human element, whether it's input from in-person scouting, whether it's, soliciting opinion and evaluation from trusted evaluators. You can't all be 100% data. One of the ironies here is that if you recall, when they hired Breslow and people were making note of, a Yale guy in charge of baseball operations for the Red Sox. That hasn't happened often. Of course, Chaim Bloom was a Yale guy, so was Theo Epstein. But there was a knock that Chaim was too into the data and too committed to the analytics, and the word you got when you asked people about Breslow among Red Sox executives was, well, this guy was a player. He knows. He understands the value of communication, of personal relationships, of listening, all of that. And then, frankly, Breslow hasn't followed up on that he's been, look at the Devers situation, which could have been avoided had they communicated better ahead of time. So not only did they invest in this theory that, well, we found somebody who could blend the personal with the analytics, but that just hasn't happened.
And I'm not one of these people to say, you need analytics, and especially to shorten a pool of talent. You need some guidelines in place just so you can do that. But if I own a hedge fund, or if I'm investing in a hedge fund, which is entirely analytical, and I'm losing money, change the analytics that you're using. The data, the way that, I don't know if it's the data or the way that you are reading the data or analyzing the data, somewhere along the line, you've made a mistake. And, that has to be looked at.
Yeah. And look, the other thing is, how about starting to look at the hiring process and how people are evaluated when they are looking to bring on a new chief baseball executive, because obviously there are some flaws there when the last two or three have not worked out. So maybe it's time for a little introspection there too.
All right, Sean McAdams, great stuff. Read him in Masslive, and next time a rock star dies, listen to him on Mad Dog, as he is the go-to guy. Thank you, Sean.
All right, guys, good talking to you.
All right, appreciate it.
Sean.
There you go, Sean McAdams. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Tudger and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
On the Sports Hub.
The United States apparently is sitting pretty because they got the 3 points in the standings in the big goal differential, so apparently they're good. Did you know, I heard this that I did not know. Everyone might know this. I might be the only one who didn't, but that the whole reason that the MLS started was so that the United States could get the World Cup in 1994, that you needed to have a professional league in your country in order to get the World Cup.
I did not know that.
Right. And then you hear these same guys that were talking about that saying, I haven't heard one person, and it's interesting because, they're all asked about it because the World Cup is every 4 years. You have people on radio shows that never talk about soccer, talking about soccer, and so they always bring up, will it become more popular? And everyone is just saying no. That's like what everyone's saying is they're like, no. Like you would have thought it in like 94. You would have thought that this was what was going to happen because remember, everyone was like locked in because they made that like elimination round. And, they had some names that you still remember, like Alexi Lawless, whatever, the Alexi guy. You had...
Lawless. No, you're right.
Yeah, you had, was Dempsey on that team? Like, I don't remember. But you had these you had guys that at least at the time that you remembered, and that did not translate into anything.
If it happens, it's only going to happen organically. It's not going to happen because everyone says now is the time, and since we hosted the World Cup here on this continent, that it's going to happen now. And thankfully, after decades of this, those chorus of voices are going away. Like, I'm not hearing it so much now. It's like, now's when soccer takes over, and MLS is going to have a huge boon after this because the World Cup was here. I don't hear that. And I think people have finally realized, no, might eventually happen, but not because they want it to happen or it's supposed to happen or because the timeline lines up. It's only going to happen if people decide they're going to start watching specifically American soccer and MLS soccer, and people start gravitating toward it away from something else.
You would think that soccer would reach the mainstream because they were, especially here, because I remember Diego Maradona, who was the guy, played here in Foxborough at the old Foxborough Stadium, and Argentina was here, and it didn't bump at all. It didn't change at all around here. There were kids playing soccer then, there are kids playing soccer now, but as far as the mainstream is concerned and the public consciousness, didn't make that jump.
And another thing that was supposed to happen is that with all that, kids, a lot of kids do play soccer, and with, the injuries in football and less kids playing tackle football, the other fall sport that you think of is soccer, and that hasn't translated to anything either. I mean, that's been happening for a long time, and that was like the big messaging for years, was that kids are playing now, and more kids than ever are playing soccer, and that less kids than ever are playing tackle football. And so that's just going to translate into more people caring about professional soccer, but that's not the case. But oftentimes weekend guys on national radio speak of how much they like the Premier League soccer and things like that, and like how much they follow it. And at a certain point, I go, "What else do you do?" I heard one guy. I get up on Saturday mornings and I watch Premier League soccer. I'm like, all right, so you watch the NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball, plus you watch college football, college basketball, and whatever else. And then on top of that, you throw in Saturday mornings that you're locked into something else.
Well, that's what it comes down to for me at the end.
And they watch golf and tennis and everything else. And now
you only have so much time. And I don't believe that people are watching all those things. And if you watch soccer on Saturday mornings, great. Don't tell me you're also watching college football later on that day and then you're spending all day watching the NFL on Sunday. You can't.
I just find it interesting that you could be...
Or most people can't. You've got a certain number of hours in your life that you devote to just you time in front of the TV, and people are not going to add in soccer in addition to the stuff that they already watch.
Well, there's that, which is very valid, and there's also just like how many things in sports can you care about deeply?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got to really reevaluate your life if you're able to like just adore 7 professional sports. That's a lot, like a lot of time. Not just time spent watching TV. Just what other interest could you possibly have? That's it. So much of just your brain is consumed with what professional athletes are doing in any way, shape, or form. Then you got to throw in the Olympics they're probably super into. Like, that just means you're into everything that's going on. And then they probably would yell and scream about how great the WNBA. I mean, go on and on and on. It's like, everyone's got their hierarchy of sports. And if you really analyzed how much time you spent thinking, reading, and consuming leagues, that you probably got 2 or 3, right? Like 2 or 3 that you like, that willingly, like, you can't get enough of. You'll consume anything that you can read about it, like off-season stuff, all those things. You're asking quite a bit. Even to like be super into all 4 major sports, like, I mean, super into it, not just a team from those sports, but into like the league as a whole. Now, John is able to do this because he holds no other interests that are non-sexual. But I mean, like, Hardy, if I was to ask you, and this will be very quick because we have to break, but like, out of all sports, like all sports leagues, college, pro, everything. Like, how many of those leagues outside of work do you just on your own, based on your own interest, consume hours and hours and hours of either game or reading about it or off-season stuff? How many are there?
2.
There you go. What are they?
I consume lots of football and lots of golf.
There you go. So I consume everything NFL, and then I watch the Cardinals pretty religiously. I watch Michigan State basketball religiously and read about Michigan State basketball. I don't read so much about the Cardinals. And then I watch the Bruins and read about the Bruins. And that's it.
Yeah, but in terms of like the actual sport, I'll watch Michigan State, but I'm not consuming huge amounts of college football and basketball.
No, I'm out on football, college football.
Yeah.
I got season tickets to BC.
Yeah.
I don't read one word about them, what's written about them. I just like going with my friends, I can walk there.
Yeah, and I'll watch the Bruins, but I'm not watching out-of-market hockey unless it has something to do like work-related. Yeah. No, there are the 2 things that I find that I have time for personally, and that's the NFL and golf. That's it.
Well, there's also just like something you can't teach yourself, and that's like wanting to read about it, like when you open up your phone, or you back in the day, you opened up like seeking out information on it. Like, I'll read anything about the NFL. I'll read anything. I'll read anything about the Bruins. I'll read literally anything about the Jets. I watch most pieces of most Cardinal games, but I'm not like devouring things. And I read about Michigan State basketball recruiting, and I watch just about every Michigan State basketball game. And that's it. I can't pretend to go like I'm completely invested outside of my obligations for work in the NBA, just because I just can't care about that many things.
Well, you're going to have to start caring about soccer.
I know,
only for a few weeks.
And that's what's
what are you going to give up
forever?
What are you going to give up?
My children. Just anything that they're doing.
The Jets. It's time.
No, I can't do that. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. I've tried, but I can't. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.